Hello and welcome to Elder Insights. I hope you're doing well today, feeling peaceful and ready to take on something exciting. We all go through seasons of life where we feel like we're holding on to more than we need. And sometimes that extra weight, whether physical or emotional, can feel heavier than it should. Have you ever walked into your bedroom and just felt overwhelmed by everything around you? Maybe there are things piled up, or perhaps it just doesn't feel like the restful sanctuary it should be. Well, if that's the case, you're not alone. As we get older, our needs change, and so do our spaces. The bedroom in particular should be a place of calm, comfort, and peace, yet we often find ourselves holding on to things that no longer serve us. In today's video, we're going to talk about 15 common things your bedroom doesn't need anymore. We'll explore why these items may be cluttering your space and how removing them can help create a more serene environment. Imagine a bedroom that's not only restful, but also revitalizing. That's what we're going for. If you've been enjoying these tips, I'd love it if you could give this video a like, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel. Your support means everything to us and keeps us motivated to bring more valuable content your way. Let's start with something that can easily sneak up on us: excessive furniture. How many pieces of furniture do you really need in your bedroom? Often we accumulate furniture over time, thinking we'll use it, or because it seemed like a good idea when we first bought it. But here's the thing: too much furniture can overwhelm a space, leaving it feeling cramped and cluttered. Take a moment and look around your bedroom. Do you have a chair in the corner that's become a place to hang clothes? Maybe there's a decorative chest at the foot of your bed that's filled with things you never touch. These pieces, while nice to have in theory, can take up space and make your room feel smaller than it actually is. Instead, focus on what's truly essential: a bed, maybe a nightstand, and perhaps a comfortable chair. That's often all we really need. Simplifying your furniture not only gives you more room to breathe, but also makes it easier to keep your space clean and tidy. And when everything has its place, you'll start noticing how much more peaceful your room feels. As you start thinking about this, you might begin to wonder, do I really need that extra dresser or large bookshelf? It's a great question. Think about how each piece makes you feel and whether it truly serves a purpose. You might be surprised by how much space you free up just by removing a few unnecessary items. Now, let's talk about something that's essential for a good night's sleep: your bedding. I know it might sound like a small thing, but old or uncomfortable bedding can really impact your rest. Think about the last time you slipped into your bed. How did the sheets feel? If you're using bedding that's worn out, faded, or just doesn't feel soft anymore, it could be time for an upgrade. We spend a third of our lives in bed, and having the right bedding can make all the difference in how we sleep and feel during the day. If your sheets are scratchy, your pillows are flat, or your blankets are too heavy or too light, it might be contributing to those restless nights. Comfort is key, especially as we get older and our bodies need a little extra support. Investing in fresh, soft, and comfortable bedding is one of the easiest ways to create a peaceful sleeping environment. Look for sheets that feel good against your skin, pillows that provide the right amount of support, and blankets that match your ideal temperature. A little update in this area can go a long way in improving your overall comfort. And when your bedding is just right, it's one less thing to worry about when it's time to wind down at night. But of course, bedding is just one piece of the puzzle. Let's move on to another common issue: too many decorative items in the room. Decorative items can add personality to a room, but too many of them can make your bedroom feel more chaotic than cozy. We've all been there, whether it's an assortment of knickknacks, vases, or framed pictures on every available surface. The more stuff we add, the less peaceful our space feels. It's easy to get carried away when we're decorating. Each item might have sentimental value, or we might think it adds style, but in reality, too many items can create visual clutter. Instead of feeling serene when you enter your room, you might feel overwhelmed by all the stuff surrounding you. Try to simplify your space by removing items that don't serve a practical or emotional purpose. Keep the decorations that bring you joy or hold personal meaning, But think about how much better the room might feel with just a few carefully chosen pieces. When you minimize the visual clutter, your bedroom will start to feel more open, more relaxing, and much easier to unwind in. Remember, less can be more. Your bedroom should be a space for rest, and sometimes that means creating room to breathe by removing unnecessary decorations. Now let's move on to something else that often piles up in the bedroom: cluttered nightstands. The nightstand. It's meant to be a simple, functional space, but often it becomes a catch-all for all sorts of things we don't know where else to put. You might find old receipts, books you haven't read, random chargers, or even half-drunk cups of water cluttering up that small space next to your bed. Here's the thing. A cluttered nightstand can create a sense of disorganization and make it harder to relax at night. Your nightstand should be a calm, accessible space, not another area to stress over. Try to keep only the essentials on your nightstand: a lamp, a clock, maybe a book you're currently reading, and whatever you need for a peaceful night's sleep, like water or a hand cream. If you have to dig through piles of stuff to find something, or keep bumping into things when you reach for your water, that little bit of clutter can add unnecessary stress. By keeping it simple, you'll have a space that feels much more organized and calming, making it easier to unwind before bed. And once you clear up your nightstand, you might realize how much space you've freed up in your bedroom overall. Now let's look at something else that can take up unnecessary space: excess pillows. Pillows, they're soft, comfortable, and cozy, but do you really need a mountain of them on your bed? We've all been there, adding one pillow figgy after another to our beds because they look nice, or we think they might be useful. But here's the truth. Too many pillows can make your bed feel more like a storage area than a relaxing haven. Pillows are great for comfort, but when you have so many that you can't even lie down without moving a few aside, it might be time to reassess. While a couple of pillows for sleeping and one or two decorative ones are fine, a whole pile can make it harder to get into bed comfortably at the end of the day. And let's face it, it's just one more thing to straighten up in the morning. Try to limit your pillows to what you actually need. This will not only simplify your bed, but also make it look more organized and inviting. It's a small change, but it can have a big impact on how your bedroom feels. With fewer pillows, you'll also have more space to spread out and relax without the extra clutter weighing you down. Speaking of things we don't need, let's move on to another common bedroom culprit: unnecessary electronics. Many of us have a TV, phone, tablet, or even a laptop in our bedrooms. While these items might seem convenient, they can actually disrupt the peaceful atmosphere we're aiming for. Electronics in the bedroom often lead to distractions, from checking your phone late at night to the blue light emitted by screens that mess with your sleep cycle. If you find yourself scrolling through your phone instead of winding down before bed, or if the TV becomes a nightly habit that keeps you from truly relaxing, it might be time to rethink the role of electronics in your room. While it's okay to have a phone nearby for emergencies or a good book on a tablet, reducing the number of electronics can help create a more restful environment. Consider moving your TV out of the bedroom, charging your phone outside the room, or setting limits on screen time before bed. With fewer distractions, you'll find it easier to unwind and fall asleep more peacefully. Plus, it's amazing how much quieter and calmer your room can feel without the hum of electronics. Now let's shift focus to something else that can crowd our bedrooms: piles of clothes. We all have those days when we take off our clothes and just leave them in a pile on the floor or toss them on a chair. Over time, though, those little piles add up and can start to take over your bedroom, making it feel messy and cluttered. Clothing piles are a sneaky form of clutter. They can disrupt the flow of your space, making it harder to relax and unwind. Not to mention, every time you look at that pile, it can serve as a reminder of something left undone. And the longer those clothes sit there, the more it can start to feel like you're surrounded by chaos instead of calm. So how can we avoid this? Keep a hamper or laundry basket in your room to gather clothes as soon as they're taken off, and consider keeping your clothing organized in drawers or a closet. This doesn't mean you have to have a perfectly tidy room all the time. Life happens. But keeping those clothing piles under control can help make your space feel much more inviting and peaceful. And once you've tackled the clothes, let's move on to another common clutter culprit: old magazines or books. We all love a good read, but over time, old magazines and books can pile up and start to take over your bedroom. You know the ones, the magazines you haven't gotten around to reading, or the books you thought you'd dive into but never did. They sit there, taking up valuable space, and before you know it, you've got a stack of old reading material that's just collecting dust. While it's great to have a book or two by your bedside for those quiet moments, holding onto piles of magazines or books you no longer use can contribute to clutter. Instead of holding onto everything just in case, consider sorting through them and donating or recycling what you don't need. If you really love the idea of having reading material around, perhaps keep just a couple of current magazines or a book you're actually reading right now. This will free up space and give your room a more open, organized feel. Plus, when you have only the essentials, it's easier to keep track of the things that truly bring you joy or provide value. Let's face it, the goal is to create a space where you can relax, not one where you feel like you're surrounded by to-do piles. Speaking of simplifying, let's talk next about lighting. Overly bright lights can sometimes do more harm than good. Lighting is one of the most important elements of creating a peaceful bedroom. Yet many of us make the mistake of having overly bright or harsh lights in the room. Bright fluorescent lights can make the space feel cold and unwelcoming, and they can even make it harder to relax at night. If you find that the lighting in your room is too stark, it might be time to consider switching things up. Soft, warm lighting can do wonders for creating a calming environment. Think about using bedside lamps with soft bulbs, or adding a dimmer switch to your overhead lights. These little changes can help set the mood for winding down and preparing for a restful night's sleep. Additionally, consider limiting the use of bright overhead lights late in the evening. Instead, try using softer lighting or even candles. Just be careful, of course, if you're using open flames. The goal is to create an ambiance that signals to your body that it's time to relax and unwind, rather than gearing up for the day ahead. So, take a moment to look at your lighting situation. Is it too bright? Softening it can make your bedroom feel instantly more peaceful. Now let's move on to something else that can take up unnecessary space: unused exercise equipment. We all know how great it is to stay active, but sometimes we find ourselves with exercise equipment in the bedroom that we just don't use anymore. Whether it's an old treadmill, a set of weights, or a yoga mat that's been tucked away in a corner for months, unused exercise equipment can easily become another source of clutter in your room. If you've stopped using that equipment, it might be time to let it go. Having it around can take up space and remind you of something that no longer serves its purpose. Instead of holding on to it just in case you get back into that routine, think about whether it's really adding value to your space. If you're committed to your fitness routine, consider finding a dedicated space elsewhere in your home for your equipment. If it's something you no longer use, it might be time to donate or sell it. Removing unused equipment can help clear out space, making your room feel larger and more serene. When the clutter from unused equipment is gone, your bedroom will feel more like a true sanctuary, a place to rest and recharge, not to store things that no longer serve you. Now let's move on to the next item: old furniture that no longer serves a purpose. Take a look around your bedroom. Do you see any pieces of furniture that no longer have a real function? Maybe there's a dresser that's too small, or an old chair that is just taking up space. Sometimes over the years, we end up with furniture that was once useful, but no longer fits our needs. It can be tempting to keep these pieces just in case, but honestly, they can end up cluttering your room and taking away from its comfort. Think about your space as a place where every item should serve a purpose. If that old armchair hasn't been sat in for months, or that extra dresser is just filled with random items, it might be time to part with it. When you clear out unnecessary furniture, you open up more space to breathe, move, and feel comfortable in your room. It doesn't mean you need to give up all the cozy or sentimental pieces. Just consider whether each item still adds value to your room or whether it's becoming more of a distraction. A simpler, more functional bedroom can truly enhance your quality of life, especially as we focus on having things that make us feel relaxed and at ease. Now let's talk about another potential source of clutter: unnecessary rugs. Rugs can add warmth and comfort to a room, but when you have too many of them, they can easily become more of a hindrance than a help. Think about it. Rugs that are too small or in the way can create tripping hazards, especially if they're not secured properly. And if your rugs are piled up on top of each other, they can start to take up valuable space and make your bedroom feel cluttered. Sometimes we hold on to rugs because they've been around for a long time or because they match our decor, but if they don't add any real value or comfort, it might be time to let them go. A single, well-placed rug can do wonders for your bedroom, adding a cozy touch without overcrowding the space. If you have several rugs that aren't serving a functional purpose, consider removing them and seeing how much more open your room feels. Plus, cleaning and maintaining one or two rugs is much easier than caring for a whole collection. This simple change can help create a cleaner, more spacious feeling in your room. Next, let's look at something else that can create unnecessary stress in the bedroom: unorganized storage. When it comes to storage, the key is organization. Having things scattered around the room without a proper system can quickly turn your bedroom into a place of chaos rather than comfort. It's easy to end up with boxes, bags, or bins full of things that you don't know where to put. But this kind of disorganization only adds stress to your space. Instead, take a step back and think about how you can create a more organized system for your belongings. Whether it's through neatly organized drawers, labeled bins, or even a designated closet space, organizing your storage will help you feel in control of your room. And when everything has a designated place, it's so much easier to maintain a peaceful and clutter-free environment. You don't need a massive overhaul. Sometimes just a few simple tweaks, like going through items you haven't used in a while and finding a proper storage solution, can work wonders. A tidy, organized room will instantly feel more serene and inviting, allowing you to unwind without the nagging feeling of disarray. Now, let's move on to the next potential clutter culprit: excessive wall art. Wall art can be a wonderful way to personalize your space and make it feel like home. But when there's too much of it, it can actually make the room feel more crowded and chaotic. Instead of feeling calm and relaxed, you might find yourself overwhelmed by the number of pictures, paintings, or posters on the walls. It's easy to get carried away, especially if you love art and want to fill every blank space. But just like with decorations, sometimes less is more. Think about which pieces truly bring you joy or resonate with you. Keep those and let go of the rest. Having fewer pieces of art allows each one to stand out and gives your room a more balanced, calming vibe. Plus, reducing the number of things on your walls creates a sense of space and openness, which is especially important in a bedroom where relaxation is the priority. You'll also have fewer things to dust, so it's a win-win. By simplifying the art in your bedroom, you can create a serene, open environment that invites rest, not overwhelm. As we've seen today, there are many things in our bedrooms that, over time, may no longer serve a useful purpose. By removing unnecessary items, from excess furniture and old bedding to unused electronics and cluttered storage, we can create a space that truly promotes rest and relaxation. Remember, your bedroom is your sanctuary, a place where you recharge after a long day, and it should reflect that. By simplifying and organizing, you'll not only have a more peaceful environment, but also a space that feels more open, calm, and inviting. It's never too late to start making small changes to your space. Every little step you take towards a simpler, more organized bedroom can lead to a greater sense of peace and comfort. I'd love to hear how you've transformed your bedroom, or any tips you might have to share. Leave a comment below and don't forget to like the video if you found these tips helpful. Subscribe to the channel for more valuable content on creating a life that feels calm, intentional, and fulfilling. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Take a deep breath and remember, a peaceful bedroom is just the beginning of a peaceful life. See you in the next video.